moment. Barely anything. Just the occasional light breeze suddenly fills in.
Welcome back to the Outer Plymouth Sound 2 nautical miles south of the breakwater. Part 1 of our voyage today can be accessed by clicking on the link above if you haven't yet seen it.
There it is again. I don't know whether you can hear it on the GoPro, but there has been a blow or whale somewhere. This is really quite frustrating. I can't see it, I can't see where it is, all I can do is hear it. There's ahead of me somewhere. That is so frustrating. Definitely not my imagination. I've got the Eddystone right ahead of me at the moment. It's such a clear day, it stands out really well. Sort of just roughly taking a line from Rame Head towards the Eddystone, and I'll head out a bit further. And then we'll turn eastwards with the tide, tidal streams in a bit, and then go along that way and see what we can find. Sometimes you get dolphin porpoise off the tidal races off Rame Head. But I've only seen the one so far, and that was a tiny thing. According to the local fishermen, they're still out here, there's lots of them. Not just where I am, though. Isn't that always the way? It's a little bit greedy really, isn't it? Expecting to see dolphins on 2 consecutive trips. I've been out here now a couple of hours and I've seen one. I've heard minke whale 4 or 5 times but haven't been able to see them. And the gannets are just resting on the surface. So there's a big shoal of mackerel which are occupying some fishing boats behind me. You might just be able to pick them out on the horizon, but other than that there's not a lot. So I'm heading back inshore, and I'm still on that line between the Eddystone and Rame Head, and I'll skirt down the side of Penley Point and we'll go and pop into Cawsand Bay, do a little bit of fishing in Cawsand Bay and see what happens. It's an absolutely glorious day again. And the sea is just lovely and smooth. Not like the time before last when I was violently seasick and it was a bit lumpy. So it's quite nice being out today.
Ahead of us there is the promontory headland of Rame Head and its medieval chapel, which is dedicated to St Michael. That dates from 1397. It's built on an ancient Celtic hermitage, which itself is built on the site of an Iron Age cliff castle. And if you walk the slopes facing us, you can still find traces of the roundhouse platforms. Now it's home to the National Coastwatch Institution, a volunteer lookout station. On rounding Penley Point into Cawsand Bay, the sails are dropped and stowed before we motor across to a sheltered anchorage in the lee of Penley Point. Surrounded by stunning scenery, with the picture postcard villages of Cawsand and Kingsand at its western end. It is hard to believe that in 1779 a 66-strong fleet of Spanish Franco ships anchored in this bay with the sole intent of landing 30,000 men, whose job was to march northwards around to the River Tamar, from where they would then bombard the dockyard opposite. But, as fate would have it, strong easterly gales that day forced the fleet to weigh anchor, just as the Royal Navy Channel Flotilla arrived back in Plymouth Sound. It was a short skirmish, and the invasion fleet scattered. However, this skirmish did lead to the building of a gun battery above Cawsand village, and later on in the 1800s, other forts were built around the whole of Plymouth Sound to protect the River Tamar and the Royal Navy dockyard at Devonport. Now, this bay is one of my favourite day sail picnic stops, sheltered from southerly and westerly winds, with stunning scenery and seas which are beautiful, clean and with little current running in them, perfect for snorkelling. And some days when it's not too busy, there's nothing better than anchoring off the beach and going for a stroll around Cawsand and Kingsand and a quick visit to the pub or to get a coffee from one of the little shops. These former fishing villages have a rich nautical seaside heritage. With pretty beaches, old cliff-top cottages and lying on the southwest coastal path, it is a popular destination, a mere 30-minute ferry ride from Plymouth City itself. the fishing villages, with their deep cellars, their hidden alcoves, their long alleyways, they were notorious smugglers' haunts in the 17th and 18th century. It is said that around about 17,000 casks of brandy a year were smuggled into these two villages from a fleet of 50 smuggling ships out in Cawsand Bay, right under the noses of Her Majesty's Royal Navy. It is even said that Nelson once anchored here in the early 1800s and stayed at the Ship Inn, which sadly burnt down in 2013. One John Pollard also came from Kingsand. He was on the Victory at the Battle of the Trafalgar, and it was he who took the shot which killed the Frenchman, which delivered the fatal shot to Nelson. What a coincidence. As the winds change to southeasterlies, it's time for me to up anchor and make my way back across the bay towards the Cat Down. As I haul up the sails, I fail to notice that a new camera attachment has wrapped itself and part of the upper sail onto the yard. Poor Arwen. Such a seaworthy boat, so deserving of a far better seaman-like skipper than me. Ah well, that's another thing to sort out before our next voyage together. If you enjoy our voyages, then why not click subscribe and hop over to our associated blog, the details of which are below. Fair winds, good sailing to you all.